Hello, this is Bubba here at Color Lake, here in the city of Frederick, the burg of Frederick. So, not Fredericksburg, but Frederick, Maryland, MD. Speaking of MD, I went to the MD today. I went to the cardiologist. So they contacted me and they said, we want you to have a pet test. I don't know what the cardiologist has to do with my pets, but okay. So I said, okay, I'll go. So I go to the pet test, and I figure, how hard can it be? We have a dog, we have Heidi, we have cats. Amanda has a bunch of animals. You know, how hard can it be? They'll say, do you like dogs? Yes. Would you leave them in a hot car? No. Okay, you're pet ready. So I get there, and the lady says, okay, we'll take you back in a little while. You'll go back there, you'll lay on this table, put your hands over your head, and have to lay still for 45 minutes. It's sort of like a stress test. You're telling me it's a stress test. So I go in the waiting room. Well, first it starts out a little confrontational. She says, when's the last time you had caffeine? I said, I don't know, probably 6 months ago. She says, what? You don't drink coffee? No, I don't drink coffee. You don't drink tea? No, I only drink water. She looks at me like she doesn't believe me. But anyway, so then I go in there and I wait in the waiting room, and then this guy comes to take me back. I guess he's technically the tech. So he comes, and he's got one of those weird mustache things where it goes, you know how they twirl up, but his twirls down. So I'm a little bit suspicious. He looks like a mad scientist, quite frankly. So he takes me back in the room. He's very nice. And he says to me, okay, sir, just sit right here and I'll have your IV hooked up in a few minutes. Now, I'm not afraid to tell you that Lisa and I have watched Criminal Minds. So I know this is very likely to end with me in a dirty hotel minus a spleen. But I say, okay. So he comes in, he hooks the IV up. He turns the light off to do the IV. And I'm looking like, okay, now it's getting even stranger. And then maybe he's Dr. Strangelove. So he says, then he turns some light on and he finds my veins. There's the vein, I found it. And in no time, he has me with the IV in. So then he says, okay, take your shirt off. I said, usually I have a few drinks before I do that, but okay. So I take my shirt, he sort of smiles. So I take my shirt off, and he says, I'm going to hook you up. I said, okay, bro, hook me up. Who doesn't want to be hooked up, right? So I'm like, okay. So he comes in, he has a razor, and he decides he's going to cut the chest hairs. So I say to him, I hope you're going to cut that into a heart. I love hearts. When I go to the beach, the last thing I need is to look odd. So he sort of laughs, and then he says, you know, funny thing, he said, one time I was doing one of these, and a guy came in, he was had real thick hair, and I get out the razor, and he says to me, oh, no, you ain't cutting my hair. No way you're going to use that thing on me. And he says, well, it's part of the test. I've got to do that. And the guy says, no, I'm going to Aruba. I haven't been on vacation in 10 years. I'm going to take a trip to Aruba, and there's no way I'm going there looking like a freak. So the guy leaves, doesn't have the test. He said he never saw him again. Speaking of waking up in a dirty hotel, missing a spleen, going to Aruba. I have nothing against Aruba. I don't want the island of Aruba to sue me, but something fishy is going on there. So anyway, so he tells me a cute story. So then he says to me, you know, I have to put my phone down. He gives me a bag. I'm supposed to put my wallet in it, my keys, my phone, blah, 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 blah. And he says, do you have any questions? And I said, yeah, what am I supposed to do if I get a Facebook notification during the test? So he sort of looks at me weird. So anyway, so this is where we've gone. So here we are. I'm hooked up. I'm ready to go. So he takes me in the room, and it's a little table, and you go through a thing, and he says, it's going to be about 45 minutes. You got to lay completely still because I'm going to take pictures with some radioactive thing. You know, how could it possibly go wrong? I've got an IV in my arm, I've got some of my chest hairs cut off, and I've got to lay still for 45 minutes with my hands over my head. So imagine it, if you will, you're at a spa, and you're getting one of those fancy mud treatments, and some guy comes in and says, it's a stick-up. So you got to put your hands over your head. But instead of taking your money and moving on to the next mud facial person, it takes him 45 minutes to rob you. 45 minutes, you got to lay there with your hands above your head. That's what this PET test is. So anyway, I get on the table, and he puts something under my legs. He says, now you got to lay completely still, because this is a series of pictures, and the pictures have got to be contrasted to the last picture. So if you move a little bit, the pictures are going to be off. So here I am. Here we go. So he then moves the thing. I have to hold my hands over my head. He says, now halfway through the test, we're going to give you a dye, and it's going to open your blood vessels, and it's going to simulate exercise so that we can look at your heart in an exercise state without having you in exercise mode. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So he says, you might get tingling in your extremities or at the site of the IV. You might have a slight headache. You might feel warm all of a sudden, but all of that is normal. And then after the procedure, we will give you a medicine which will nullify the previous medicine, so your blood vessels will go back to the way they were pre-exercise state. So I'm in there laying down. A nurse comes in and chit-chats with me. So when I get in the machine, the guy says, how tall are you? I say 6'1". He says, oh, I've always wanted to be 6'1". I say, you know what, 6'1" is overrated unless you have basketball skills. And I don't have basketball skills. I'm too uncoordinated. So both of them chuckle about it, and we go and we start the test. So I have to lay there, and this thing, meanwhile, this machine, it's in like a CAT scan type of machine. So the machine is going around in circles. So I'm getting dizzy. I have a headache because of the medicine they give me. And I got an IV in my arm. I'm worried about them taking my spleen. Like I need my spleen. Hello. So here I am. I'm at their mercy. The thing is spinning around. I hear all this loud noise. Every once in a while they come in. How you doing, Mr. Fry? I'm doing okay. Okay, good. Don't move. Don't give me the high five sign, because I don't want you to move. So I'm then worried, like, does that mean I can't breathe either? Am I supposed to hold my breath for 45 minutes? That's one reason I don't swim, because I can't hold my breath underwater. So anyway, we go through the whole thing, and then he comes in, he says, okay, you only have 5 more minutes left. So he comes in, he puts a new dye in, and I have 5 more minutes to go through this. So again, the thing is spinning. I'm worrying about losing my spleen, and it finally, he comes in, he says, okay, you're all done. If you want to move your arms, go right ahead. So I move my arms, and he says, no, not that much. So then he says, okay, I'm going to put you back through the tunnel, and then we'll get you unhooked up. So the nurse comes in, and she says, now this might sting a little bit. Now mind you, they're glued to my chest. So she says, excuse me, and she starts ripping them off violently off my chest. So it might sting a little bit is an understatement. So anyway, they get them all off. I have holes in the hair in my chest. I'm not going to be able to show off my beach body. There's not going to be a, hey, I'm like The Rock, because unlike The Rock, I'm not completely shaved, right? So anyway, so I had the PET test. Then she says, okay, set up slowly, because some people get dizzy. from laying there that long and having the thing spin around them. So I take my time, I sit up, she takes all the things off, she says, okay, I'm going to take you to the other room and I'll get you a cup of coffee. Hello, ma'am, I don't drink coffee. Shut up about the coffee. So they say, okay, we're not going to. I said, yeah, I don't want coffee. She says, okay, I can give you hot tea. I don't want hot tea. I don't drink caffeine. So she says, okay, how about a glass of water? Good old H2O, 2O. T-O. I'm calling it T-O as in Terrell Owens. Good old Terrell Owens. That's what I need. I need some of that Terrell Owens blood. That would have me set up. So anyway, so they give me some water, and she says, now you sit here. They wrap me in a blanket, by the way, because I still have my shirt off. So I'm wrapped in a blanket. So while she's gone, I take the blanket off. I put my shirt back on, and she comes in. She says, you look like you're ready to go. I said, yes, except I have this IV in, and I don't want to lose my spleen. You know, you walk outside, somebody sees, oh, he's already got an IV in. Just take his spleen. So she takes the IV out. She gives me the water. I drank the water. She has me sign a paper saying I'm okay to drive. I don't feel lightheaded. I said, how about if I always feel lightheaded? Maybe I should correct this and say I don't feel any more lightheaded than normal. So again, this is the beautiful Color Lake, and I had a PET test today, and now I have to wait for the results. She said I'll have the results in about a week or so. They'll either call me or send me a letter, because then I'm not meeting for the doctor again till 2 or 3 weeks. So we are done with the PET test. And yes, I like dogs, and no, I would not leave them in a hot car. Have a good day. I'm going to walk around Color Lake. It's a little on the hot side. I mean, it's so hot out here. Okay, I'm just not going to even go there. Sometimes things that pop in your head should stay in your head. So message me if you want to know what popped in my head that I decided not to say. Okay, have a good day.